Hi. Okay, if you're a goth, you've gotten this question probably more times than you can count. What is goth? I actually got that question at a gas station once. I went in to pay for my gas and the lady behind the counter said, "Excuse me, are you goth?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "What exactly is that?" And I just looked at the people behind me in line and went, "How much time do you have?" You know, you search YouTube, you go on forums, you go to any website anywhere, and you can Google what is goth. There are countless explanations, different versions of pretty much the same thing. Seeing beauty in darkness, appreciating the darker things of life, having a different aesthetic, you know, the music. There's different versions. Some people put more emphasis on the music, some people put more emphasis on the fashion, or the aesthetics, or the mindset, or what have you. But what about what goth isn't? That seems to me like something that should be addressed. Someone else in public stopped me once. I was walking into Walmart and the Walmart greeter who was there, she was kind of an older lady, she stopped me and she said, "Excuse me, are you goth?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I was like, "Of course." I assumed it was going to be, "Can you explain to me what goth is?" and all this stuff. But what she actually ended up saying to me was, "My grandson, he's in high school and I think he might be getting into goth a little bit. He's very artistic and he doodles, you know, spooky pictures and he's starting to want to wear black and he wants to dye his hair black, you know, but his parents won't let him and everything." She said his parents are worried about him getting into the goth thing. "I want to know about it. And can you explain to me a few things?" From the information she gave me, it seemed legitimate. So I told her it's nothing to worry about, it's nothing to fear, it's nothing that his parents should, you know, clamp a lid on. I mean, it's obviously their own personal preference if they want their son dyeing his hair black or whatever. But I reassured her that it's nothing to worry about. I said he's not gonna, you know, get into anything bad. It doesn't mean he's a bad kid. It's just a thing. It's just a style. If you want to look at it that way, it's just a style, just like any other thing. When you break it down, it's more about the core of the human being. It's more about the personality, and the part that people actually see is just the style, the fashion. Since that's the part that people seem to be worried about, like, people could go on being goth for the rest of their lives in here, and as long as they don't show it on the outside, no one would ever know, really. Like, seriously. So the part that people get scared of is when, you know, they see someone all in black or with the black makeup or the colored hair or whatever. If you took away that element, no one would ever know the difference of people. I mean, they might pick up different aspects of their personality, like, oh, this person seems to enjoy Halloween a little bit more than maybe they should. Anything, and they would just accept that as a part of a person's personality. Like, some people really like Christmas. I've seen people go absolutely crazy when it's Christmas time. They have to have Christmas soap, Christmas hand towels, Christmas decorations in the yard, the giant inflatable snowman thing, like the Christmas trees, the Christmas lights everywhere, the decorations in the windows, and oh my god, they just go nuts. And everyone's just like, oh, they're getting into the holiday season. Well, you know, when someone does that with Halloween, they're just like, okay, they're really getting into the Halloween season. But if someone who looks like me does it, they're like, oh, it's because they're goth. Since the exterior of a person is really the only true indication of what makes goth, and then that makes people kind of take two steps back and go, I don't know about this person. I think it's important to illustrate the things that goth is not. Just because people see someone who's dressed all in black, with the black makeup and the dyed hair and the black nail polish and the spiked chokers and everything, they automatically assume certain things. Goth is not about being depressed or sad or sorrowful, full of sorrow, or anything that would fall under the teen angst category. Yeah, there probably are some goths who have depression or are a little bit mopier, but there are human beings who are like that. So that's not a goth thing, that's just a human being thing. But that's not a trait of goth at all. A lot of people get that wrong because they see the black clothing and some of the songs, I suppose, and you know, some of the poetry or the stories, they maybe seem a little bit sorrowful, I guess, but it's not about that. It's not like goths sit around their house all day, oh, I'm so sad, curse the world, oh, woe is me, dread to everything everywhere. No. Most of the goths that I have met, in person and online, are the happiest, bubbliest people I have ever met. Like me, for example. I'm pretty happy and bubbly. Anybody who knows me will tell you that. I'm definitely not depressed. I had my periods of depression, but that was in high school. That had nothing to do with the goth thing. That was, I'm a teenager, I'm getting bullied, I have no friends, woe is me type of thing. It wasn't, oh, I'm goth, oh. No. It's not about being depressed, and it's not about being sad, and locking yourself in a dark corner and just writing sad poetry until your fingers bleed. No, it is not about that. Another misconception, and this is a big one, this is what this lady at Walmart really was most concerned with, is that a lot of people think that goths are Satan worshippers, or, you know, they sacrifice animals, or they drink blood, or basically take part in something that is more of a cult type thing. No. Granted, again, there probably are some goths who do things like that, but there are some non-goths who do things like that. That's just a personal preference thing, not a goth subculture thing. Religion doesn't really ever come up. Like, I don't know the religion of probably 90% of the goth people that I've ever known. I have no idea. They probably don't know my religion either. I'm actually a Christian. I'm a Methodist. And that has nothing to do with my gothiness. Within the gothic community, there are lots of different smatterings of religion, just as there are outside of the gothic community. Religion has no bearing whatsoever on being a goth. No roots, no basis, nothing. A lot of goths are pagan or Wiccan, and a lot of people confuse that for Satan worshippers. It's very careful not to say Satanist, because Satanist does not mean Satan worshipper. It's actually different, but you know, people hear a word, they put a meaning to it, it's hard to convince them otherwise. But that's a whole nother thing. Look that up. Look up Satanist on Wikipedia, and you'll see what I'm talking about. If any religion whatsoever is prominent in the Gothic community, it's paganism and Wiccan. I'm actually not sure if they're the same thing. I don't think they are, but I don't know. So there's my ignorance right there. I'm not even sure about that one. That's probably the only thing, because a lot of goths that I have met are pagan and or Wiccan, which has nothing to do with worshiping the devil. It's just more of an appreciating the energies of the world type of thing, rather than like, oh, Lord in heaven type of thing. Look that up as well. I would love to explain it, but I don't know enough about it, unfortunately. But anyway, religion, no basis, Gothic whatsoever, nothing. No connection. None. Okay, the next thing. Sex and drugs. A lot of people think that goths are all about the promiscuous sex and the experimenting with drugs and getting wasted and all this dangerous health risk behavior. No. To those people who think that, I want you to just humor me for a second and think about college. What do you think of when you think about college? Besides the learning thing, because that doesn't seem to be important at all anymore. Makes me think of frat boys and sorority girls who are out partying and sleeping around, dressing like sluts. I'm not judging, I'm just saying here, okay? If you're gonna worry about anybody, worry about your blonde-haired, tan, breast-implanted daughter, not your goth daughter. Because your goth daughter is going to be in the library studying, while your blonde daughter is out at a frat party getting wasted. I'm generalizing, I realize that, but I'm saying it's much more likely in that scenario. Yes, some goths go and party, and so do people outside the goth community. Just look at all the stupid college movies that are out there. It's not a bunch of goths going and being irresponsible. They're always the ones who, you know, if they're in the movie, they make a quick cameo, they walk through the room and go, God, this party is lame. And you see them for like a second and they make them out to be the bad person. I realize I just kind of opened a can of worms on myself, and I'm not judging people. Just saying, if people are gonna look at goths in that light, don't be so narrow-minded and don't have tunnel vision with that. Because when you think about college parties, be honest. What kind of person do you picture? Okay? Moving on. Okay, as far as being like, I guess all around a bad influence. People think that goths are just a bad influence on their kids, on maybe raising their own children. Really, they just think that they're toxic in the world. I don't know, it's because they think, you know, we're violent or troublemaking or anything that I've already mentioned, but it's just not so. It really isn't. We're really peaceable and we're very accepting. Goths are a lot more open-minded, probably, than most people. You know, there are a lot of open-minded people in the world who aren't goth. You know, of course. There are a lot of closed-minded goths too, also, obviously. But being a goth, it just kind of, it's sort of a given. Like, inevitably, we are going to be open and less judgmental because we are different from the norm and we kind of have the built-in courage to go out in public and be the black smudge in the grocery store that everyone's going to notice and everyone's going to look at, and we don't care. So, of course, we kind of realize in the back of our minds that we're going to get a lot of attention drawn to us. I mean, look at me. You know, I went to the grocery store the other day and 2 people stopped me, physically stopped me where I was in the grocery store, 2 different people at different times, to ask me about my hair and comment on it. I even got a little bit of the touching going on. That happens almost every time I go out. I realize that I'm going to be targeted, you know, for attention, and that's fine. I don't actively think about it. I just kind of, you know, go on about my business. But at the same time, of course, I'm not going to be looking like, oh my god, look at that person, oh. I'm not going to do that. That would make me such a hypocrite. Like, I'm going to get noticed. And it would be really small-minded and hypocritical of me to look at someone who blends in with the crowd and single them out by going, oh my god, ugh, what is that about? Like, that's terrible. Goths don't do that. And if they do, that's just a personality thing. Again, it's not a goth thing. You know, the whole pot calling the kettle black thing, we're smart enough to know and we're aware enough to realize that's not something that we should do. We might do it in our heads. We might pass judgment on someone like, oh my god, that tan is so awful. She looks like she got colored on with an orange marker. Like, but we're not gonna, you know, have a facial expression about it. We're not going to point and laugh or, you know, or stop them and ask them about it or anything like that. I mean, we're human. Everyone's human. Everyone judges people when they see something that seems a little out of place. Everyone does it. No one is innocent on that frontier. And as far as goths go, we're not bad influences. We're a lot more open-minded than most people because there are a lot of people within our community who are so different from each other, even. I mean, there's so many different breakdowns of the gothic subculture. I mean, just so many. There's like the romantic goths, there's the cyber goths, there's bubble goth now, there's punks. I mean, they're sort of on the cusp, but anyway, there's just so many different types of goth even. It would be stupid of us to be closed-minded towards other people. So we're actually really good about being smart and courteous and polite and accepting and understanding of other people, and we're a lot more conscientious and a lot more compassionate, I think, because we embrace not only the beauty of the world that the rest of the people of the world embrace, but we also take it to a different level and embrace a different kind of beauty, that whole darker beauty. So we see beauty in not only the normal way, but we see it in a different way also. So really, we're, as far as personality goes, we're a good influence. Most of us are. And anyone who's a bad influence, again, that's just a personality trait that anyone on Earth could have. It's not because we're goth. Another thing is, a lot of people think that all goths wear black all the time. It's not true. I don't wear black all the time. I do a lot because my wardrobe scheme is my colored hair, I color my nails to match my hair, and I wear matching shoes. So like my hair, my nails, and my shoes match. And then I'm usually black otherwise. Like whatever I wear on my body is black because I want the color, and the color. And that's just my own personal thing. There are some goths who have black hair, black painted nails, black lipstick, black eye makeup, black clothes, black shoes, black stockings, black. And that's cool. Those are probably the most identifiable goths. But there are some goths who have dyed red hair, or blue hair, or green hair, or pink, or whatever, or blonde even, and don't wear black eye makeup, and wear white. They probably still look different, like you can still tell that they're, you know, alternative, but they're probably not as easily identifiable as a goth, per se. People shouldn't really look at the people who are all in black and go, oh my god, a goth, and just assume that there isn't one on the other side of you too. You just didn't notice because they weren't all in black. Like, you can't look at someone all in black and just automatically judge them and go, oh, a goth, when you've probably seen a lot more than you realize, but you just didn't notice because they weren't all in black. So you shouldn't judge just because someone's all in black. I mean, look at me. My hair is Christmas colored, for crying out loud. It's not all about black all the time. It's about what's in here that matters. Like, the fashion is a big part of it, of course. But there are goth people who have jobs. They have careers. You know, they have maybe conservative families and children and don't have the time or the money or the effort or the energy to put into their look, and maybe they can't do it because of their job, and they're still goth just because they, you know, wear a suit to work or whatever and not eyeliner. It doesn't mean they're any less goth, because it's about what's in here and in here, not what's out here. Goths are really, really creative, okay? So I think the way we look is rooted in our creativity, because, you know, we express ourselves outwardly with ourselves because we want to look how we feel. That's all it is. And it's not that we feel black, we feel dark, we feel, you know, and it's not like that. It's just we have an appreciation for the darker aesthetics of the world, and we want to express that on ourselves and with ourselves. Just like, you know, your grandma wears a Christmas sweater at Christmas with like a happy little snowman on it or something. Well, we want to wear a big black Victorian dress because that's how we feel that we're doing our part to show how we're feeling inside. Just because we're all in black doesn't mean we're, you know, about to go sacrifice a goat after we're done buying our bananas at the grocery store. And my last point, what goth isn't, it is not those teenagers who sit there in guy liner and mope while listening to Marilyn Manson. That is not goth. That is an angsty teen trying to find themselves and their place in the world, and they think that's the most logical place to turn because they don't understand what goth really is about. That is where most of the misconceptions come from, is from the high school kids or younger people who don't truly understand it and turn to what they think it is because they think that's what suits them, because they think it's about being depressed and sad. And it really isn't at all. That's where all the misconceptions come from. So I hope this cleared things up a little bit, and I hope you liked this video. Check out my other videos. There's some interesting random things there. Thumbs up, subscribe to me, and thanks for watching. Bye.